Good guys, my name is Lil Tomo. Welcome again to another Sonic the Hedgehog toy item collector review. As you know, I'm Lil Tomo with the blue stick with Sonic the Hedgehog holding what will soon be another review. But that's not the review. Let's get into the actual review. This is a I just had to do that. Let's put Sonic aside here. A Sonic X-Treme Stereo cassette player. Voila. Now, this item isn't so much infamous as it is more obscure in terms of collecting, or in my case, just general things that I tend to seek out more often than not compared to everything else that's currently out there. Now, by that I mean is for any of you who may or may not know, Sonic X-Treme was a Sonic X-Treme was a game that was in development that was gonna more or less push or push the boundaries of 3D gaming-esque, if you really want to say that. But be the pinpoint game or the Sonic game that was going to be released for the Sega Saturn. Regretfully, due to development issues, etc., Sonic X-Treme became, well, let's say, abandoned. It became a nightmare, cost too much, and Sega Saturn flopped, unfortunately, and X, Y, and Z. So a lot of the things more or less just didn't come into fruition as much as the Sonic team would have loved to. So Sonic X-Treme, the game, never came into full fruition in terms of mass production and the game being released at all, which makes these items in particular, in my honest opinion, a little more awesome to collect, or a little obscure. It's kind of like collecting the official merchandise of something that's never been released, only been talked about. So yeah, that's more or less the way I would explain this. Now, this is the Sonic X-Treme Stereo cassette player. Now, common to most productions or most things that come out, when a lot of games or merchandise that tends to come out in the future or gets announced, a lot of other companies, in this case, I don't know, Spectra merchandise, that's what these guys are called, Spectra merchandise. A lot of companies approach, for example, these corporations, say, hey, we want to license, we want to buy a license of that, of that game or whatever, and make products for it. In this case, the merchandise came out. There's also some stickers, but in this case, it's only the cassette. In this case, they released the cassette in small quantities, but unfortunately, when the game didn't come through, they couldn't sell this to its full capacity as best as they would love to, which makes this item pretty interesting, in my honest opinion. Let's have a closer look. What makes this even more interesting is the fact that I found this purely out of chance. It's not something that I was particularly aiming for. I wanted, but it was something that I was just like, this is nearly impossible. I was looking for this for about a couple of years, maybe 5-ish years, like actively. Passively, a little longer, of course, with all other merchandise I tend to buy, but actively, about 5 years, I really wanted to get this item. I really wanted to get a hold, because straight off the bat, you can tell how creative and how very eccentric this item is. And what makes this even better in my story is it comes in its mint condition, a little, small dents here and there, but other than that, it comes in its superb mint condition, which I absolutely love. It cost me almost an arm and a leg to buy this. Not that expensive, but for me, it was just like a little out of the ballpark. I will tell you eventually, but let's get into the actual item. Now, regretfully, I try to find a loose version of this, and even that's nearly impossible for me to find. So I can't review it as best as I would love to. Normally I like to take things out of the boxes and all sort of stuff. This is hard plastic, so if I was to take this out, I would have to actually cut through it, and this cost me a lot, and I just don't have the heart to do it. Maybe I might do it in the future, who knows. But yeah, so at the very top, it's predominantly black, and what makes this interesting is the color scheme. I love the color scheme. So it says, as seen in the hit video game by Sega. Now, for those who may or may not know, they also released a bunch of stickers, and those were one of the stickers. It's kind of like the Neo Light-esque sort of feel, and this is him on a skateboard. I think there was pictures of him on a mountain bike, karate, and all that sort of stuff. At the very top was synonymous with the logo that was meant to come with the game, and it says Sonic X-Treme. Weird logo. Straight off the bat, this whole thing just screams out just weird and obscure, and that's what I love about this. It doesn't pay homage to what you normally see merchandise. So that's a Sega X-Treme. It's a stereo cassette player. If you're a little too young for this, back in the day, cassette players were something of the rage, kind of like the iPad or even in this case phones, and you can play music. This one was the thing for the 90s for the most part. It's like you had a clip and you put like a cassette player, you put it in, you press play, start rewind, and that was awesome. That shows my age. The model I would imagine is the SXT600. Awesome. The company that makes it, I will show you, of course, is Spectra Merchandising International. It has this is what makes this old school straight up. It has all various features. You know how most features is like it holds up to 2 terabytes worth of memory. Some of the features are play, fast forward, and stop. Ooh. I don't know, I can't help but laugh at this situation. Another one is Sonic Stereo headphones included. So you also get headphones included, which I think is pretty awesome. Built-in belt clip. That was, funny enough, something that was big and needed back then. Uses 2 times AA batteries, and it's not included. So yeah, at the very bottom it's got a bunch. It says Consumer Product Safety Commission, ages 5 and up. So it's just kind of like a regulatory information. Now if you look closely, it just screams out so much craziness and details. I really generally don't know what to think about it. I don't know what they were aiming for. Even I, living back in the 90s, even now I don't comprehend, back then and now don't comprehend what they were aiming for. But I think they were going for the whole stylish effect to it, and I guess I could really, I would imagine this works. Oddly enough, you have little extrusion points that serve absolutely no purpose, but it just gives it awesome. You have this kind of explosive gooey green sort of feel to it, which kind of gives it this whole extreme aspect. I don't know. Right inside there is, you see it's empty, but that's where you put the cassette in. So the cassette will flip forward, you put the cassette in and you close it, so you have like a little picture of your, it's a transparent little material, but you'll see your cassette spinning around, because that's extreme. The thing that blows me more is at the very bottom. It kind of, for whatever reason, it's not a pen or anything as far as I can tell. It's literally just purely design. But at the very bottom is where you put the battery in. Just there's like a little socket clip at the bottom. I know you can't see it, and that's where you put the batteries in. But it kind of has this like from bumper-esque sort of feel to it, which is weird and odd and obscure. It works, but it's weird at the same time. At the actual side, those are the actual earphones. It's way different back then to what it is now. But those were the earphones you get, which is the what do they call it? The Sonic Stereo headphones. So yeah, the buttons serve no purpose as far as I'm aware. Could be wrong. I haven't really checked the instructions, and until I get another one. So you press the button and it does its. You know what? I'm pressing the button and it does nothing. So it's purely cosmetic. It's cosmetic, guys. On the other side, yep, it's purely cosmetic. So these buttons do nothing and they're just predominantly green. So straight out of the bat, at the very top, you have these different buttons, and these buttons will justify basically the, if I can get a really good, so it's play, which would be the green, fast forward would be the red, and stop. The red will, I think, is the stop, and fast forward is the purple one, as per its image. So it's got this really funkiness sort of feel to it, which I think is pretty awesome in an odd, obscure way. Just imagine this. I have this on the shelf, and most times than not, I have a lot of people who tend to just look at this or question this or pick this up and say, "What? I remember that. I remember cassette player. I don't remember seeing that." So it's one of those items that you tend to talk a lot about, or just, you know, go, "Hey, so this is the story behind this." And you're like, "Oh, so they released merchandise for a game that's never been out." I'm like, "Yeah, interesting." At the very back, it's pretty mundane and boring. Of course, you're not gonna, you know, this is the clip that it's been talking about, and the actual company is at the very bottom there. You can see Spectra. So yeah, at the very bottom you have instructions manuals, and also stuff like I said, I would love to show you, but at the same time, pretty sure you guys don't care about instruction manuals. As far as I'm aware, you have the cabling of the earphones, the Sonic Stereo earphones, which is there, and at the other side you just have, you know, just the port where it's a 3.5mm jack port. You won't be able to see it because my cam sucks, but yeah, there you go. Over there is the 3.5mm jack port where you put it connected into the actual unit itself. And that's the back. I don't know why they would put groove, but yeah, that's the front is by far the most interesting, but the back is by far the most boring, and it was manufactured none other than Chicago, which is awesome. But yeah, it's totally a funky design. It's totally something that the story behind it and just the design of it plays more of an interesting conversational starter or beginner or whatever you want to say than the actual game itself, because the game, as probably those who may or may not know, went through development hell and that sort of stuff. But this, you're kind of like, this reminisced on your past, this reminisced on what a cassette player was and all that sort of stuff, which I think is awesome, which I think is mad. This is my honest opinion. Obviously it's maybe because I'm a bit of a nostalgia kicking in, but yeah, that's that. I bought this purely by luck from eBay, and I think I got it for about 150. Yeah, expensive, I know, but simply because it looks so retro and so awesome from a merchandise from a game that's never been released, I think it's worth its weight in gold. I honestly think so. In terms of rarity, look, I have no idea if these are some of the stuff that people seek after. Me personally, I seek it after because it's interesting, it's superb. I'm going to be maybe semi-generous, 7 not generous. I'll probably give you maybe 5.5 stars out of 10. Simply because I don't know if this is something people look out for to get. If they don't, then it's probably not probably sought after, so the rarity will drop. Is it something that's super looked after? Maybe it's 10 out of 10? I don't know. I'm going to say maybe 5.5 stars out of 10. For the rarity anyway. I could be wrong, I could be right. It's kind of those things where you're just like, is it yes or is it no? You never know. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting piece. I purchased this on eBay purely by luck. It was something that I wanted to get, and then when I found out, I was like, oh my god, I have to spend money on it, and yeah. Anyway guys, tell me guys what you think about this. If you like it, you hate it, you dislike it. Do you remember the cassette player? Is it something that you guys more or less remember as a past? Or even if you're a younger audience, is it something you still remember? Or even if you know about the Sonic game. Anyway guys, thank you so much for checking out this review. Stay tuned, of course. I'll be reviewing, of course, more reviews down the track, obviously, once a week. If not more. If I skip a week, I tend to make up for it in the following weeks and all that sort of stuff. Anyway guys, take care, speed on. To see you around.